The people, demos, the people govern through a process where they elect leaders. That's what the people of Jamaica will do on September 3rd. Which is why it is so terrible that within the system of democracy, there are transactional people, because democracy ought not to be able to be bought. The value of a democracy should be beyond the vicissitudes. It should be beyond money. Okay? So the three pillars are the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary. Now ramp with the judiciary, You see this issue about the Privy Council, that the PNP is saying that the Caribbean Court of Justice will become our final court. Don't think that that is not a matter that you must, Vibes Cartel, had it not been for the Privy Council, may still have been incarcerated. I leave that right there. So media must be transparent. Anytime you see politics wanting to control media, then authoritarianism looms. You don't have a democracy. Whenever you see politics or politicians wanting to dictate how media operates, you can criticize the media, but you don't control it. Then the democracy is endangered. There are 6 things that media ought to do. Because media disseminate information. They disseminate information, that news. They foster public dialogue, talk shows. People call in, express their views. They hold authority figures accountable, responsible, and in doing so, they promote transparency. The media's role is vital in a democracy. Vital. Much more so than any opposition. It is therefore important that the media be free and independent. Media is not to be in the pocket of politics, because if it is in the pocket of politics, it cannot be transparent, it cannot be fair, it is going to be biased. Who is media does these 6 things. 1, they keep the public informed. Secondly, they act as a watchdog. not the opposition. And the reason why I tell you that it is not the opposition is that there have been collusions in democracy between governments and oppositions. There have been collusions. Quite frankly, there have been instances where government and oppositions come together to form what is called coalition government. So it's not the opposition that is the watchdog of the government, it is the media. The media promotes political participation. It provides a platform for diverse voices. It is to educate citizens, and it fosters public discourse. Media is to be free and fair and independent. That's when you have a democracy. So the question to the listeners are, do we have in Jamaica these 4 pillars of democracies? Do we have them? Because if we don't, then this is not a democracy, or it's a democracy that is under threat. Is the democracy under threat tonight based on recent developments? Is it? Think about it. Oh, I'm coming back to you soon. Please look on your screen. There is a goal for tonight. We need to reach that by 8:30. All right. So the role of media in a democracy is to inform the public on current affairs, government initiatives, and other important matters that have an impact on the society. The public and the government are connected by the media, not JIS, because JIS is government media. JIS is bias media. JIS is government PR. That is not the media. JIS is the government information service. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about a media that connects the people to their government. It disseminates information. Whether the information is good or bad, it gives the public the information. So the citizens, they access information through the diverse media organizations, newspapers, television, radios, and online platforms like these. We are part of the media. not traditional, but social. News articles, opinions, analysis, all of this enables the public to make informed decisions. Here is what I want to say to you listeners. That as the people of Jamaica go to the polls, they are going to the poll based on what they have heard in media. Media have shaped the narrative. Media have given them the information, because how else would they have gotten it? And so media can win the election. You think it's the parties that win the election? Oh, think again. It is the media that pushes the narrative, because people are making up their minds based on the information that is fed to them. You see why the Labour Party tonight, you see why the Labour Party tonight, on this nomination day in Jamaica, the best performing government in the history of Jamaica. There are operatives in this government that feels that the election is close. You know why? The media have done it. Not the PNP so much, the media. And it is a disgrace. It is a disgrace that media in Jamaica is in the state that it is. It is a failure of media. The fourth estate, the four pillars of a democracy: the legislature, the executive, the judiciary, and the media. It is because of a failure of media why the Labour Party is not 8 or 9 points ahead going, and they may very well be, but the media is not even prepared to report that. I wonder if you understand what I'm saying to you tonight. And especially in a democracy where there is high illiteracy, media controls the narrative. An absolute disgrace in this country, what we have prevailing as media. An absolute disgrace. They are nothing, some of them, but mouthpieces for the People's National Party. They are nothing but mouthpieces for the People's National Party. The People's National Party have found in media an ally of misinformation and, quite frankly, damn lies. That is what the Labour Party is up against. Going into this election, what they are up against is a bias, propagandistic media. And that is why nationwide is being blacklisted. That's why nationwide is being blacklisted, because nationwide is media. Nationwide is media. Nationwide plays the role of the fourth estate. They speak the truth. And the truth in Jamaica today is antithetical to some of the interests, to some interests in this country. They don't want to hear the truth. The people must not be fed the truth. They must be fed a false narrative so that they doubt the realities that are before them. That is the truth, that what we have prevailing for media in Jamaica is nothing but a mouthpiece for the opposition. They are not the fortiest. Quite frankly, some of them should lose their license. Some of them should be shut down. But then you're going to say the government is being authoritarian. But if you are not fulfilling your, not to mention this thing that they call the Media Association of Jamaica. What is that? I see they put out a little wishy-washy statement this evening. Yeah? Something as fundamental. I could, 13 minutes to 8 o'clock. What type of wishy-washy statement that they're putting out? That a statement? Not even want to read it. So as a watchdog, independent monitoring you need. The media watches the government. It watches institutions. It watches politicians and public officials. It exposes corruption, or it should. I see Damian Crawford saying that the Prime Minister is a billionaire. Let me ask, is the Prime Minister a billionaire? Because I didn't know that. I thought that the reports that came out is that the Prime Minister has asset of about a million US dollars. Mr. Crawford say he's a billionaire. You hear that on media? You hear media challenging Mr. Crawford to produce the evidence? Do you hear media challenging that? This is not a media. This is not media in Jamaica. Nationwide qualifies as media because nationwide, to a large extent, is credible. It is credible. In other words, nationwide is not in the pocket of the government, you know. No, sir. They may, I don't know who they favor, but nationwide is not in the pocket of the government. No, sir. Nationwide reports the facts. And the facts supports the government. And it is not in the interest of the PNP for the facts to be told. So guess what? If you are telling the truth, then you are opposing the People's National Party. And that's where media is failing. It is truth that our murder rates are down. That is a fact. It must be reported. The people must know it. Because that is the role of media. It's not the role of JIS. JIS is the government's PR, Government Information Service. When you go to JIS, you will not hear, certain things. It's media that must report that. It is a fact that poverty has been cut in half. The people must hear that. It is and people must not only hear it. It must be discussed and analyzed. and the credit go to the government. That's what media does. It is a fact that over 250,000 people have gotten jobs in Jamaica in the last 9 years. That is a fact. It is a fact that minimum wage has moved from $6,200 to $16,000. That is a fact. Media must report that. The people must understand. It is not true that a boom in Jamaica costs $450. That is a lie. And media must call out Mr. Hales for that. That's the role of media. Because there are people in Jamaica that believes that a boom costs $450. Even though they go to the supermarket and pay $150 for it. But you know the bite theory? Behavior control? Information control? Yes? Emotional control? Not to mention the whole matter of cognitive dissonance? And tribalism? People believe it. And so what the PNP has successfully done is to label Nationwide as a JLP station. And when they do, oh, it is so unfair. It is so unfair. And I ask my Jamaican brothers and sisters, stand up for what is right in your country. Stand up for what is right and support organizations that help you in this democracy, because you have to depend on the media to give you news, and the media must be credible. Like the Gleaner came out yesterday saying that the Prime Minister's favorability is declining. Right? The most important role in a democracy is the role of media. And you ask me, I ask you this question tonight. Which media organization is playing the role of a watchdog? I am telling you this, that if corruption breaks out in government tomorrow, Nationwide is going to carry it, and Nationwide is going to discuss it, and Nationwide is going to condemn it. I am not a supporter of Hughes. I'm not a supporter of Nationwide. But I am telling you that if one of the government ministers foul up, Cliff Hughes is going to speak about it. As I've heard him giving credit to the People's National Party manifesto. You know, I hear him saying that he's one of the best. Many of you may be young. You don't know Cliff Hughes from RGR and JBC. Clifford Hughes is one of Jamaica's best journalists. He has made some mistakes, yes. Can be a little sensational sometimes. But he's one of the best. One of the best we have. And he has contributed tremendously to journalism in Jamaica. Tell me which other media house in Jamaica is a watchdog for government, for institutions that reports the news. Which other? Tell me. Which other organization in Jamaica can match Nationwide when it comes on to reporting news, breaking news, reporting news, and exposing corruption? As I've never heard them cover up anything that this government should be criticized for. I've never heard it. Have you heard it? Have you heard them covering up anything? Not to mention the whole matter of investigative journalism. Yeah? Because that's another thing. Apka Fitzhenley was very good at that. He's now gone into government, a senator. Because you have to hold people accountable, influential people. Media fears no one, you know. And that is why businesses must support media. And when the PNP, well, The private sector must support media by putting their ads in the stations so that the station can pay its staff, pay its workers, and don't have to depend on political parties for infomercials and things like that. You have to bring issues to light. The media helps to maintain integrity in a democracy. Democratic systems must be held accountable, and when you do that, you foster public trust. Because men are inherently flawed, you know. That's why I believe in systems. I don't believe in individuals necessarily. I believe in systems of accountability. So media promotes political participation. So in the whole matter of education, educating citizens. Well, let me move on to something else. Because today, as I try to cover nomination, I experience much hostility. Much hostility. And I'm not a journalist. But journalists often face physical threats, intimidation, harassment, you know, when they have to report on sensitive issues. Yeah? And so it is important that we, well, listen, do I have listeners? People are trying to come up. Let me see who I have. I could get back to that in a little bit. Let me see if I have any hello, good night. Good night. Listen, man, I beg you, do, please. If you check.
Yeah, but sorry, I didn't know that I was in the box. I am so sorry because I was somewhere else. I was just listening to you. I didn't know when I reached in the